There are moments in life when silence becomes self-betrayal. When ignoring someone's behavior doesn't make you wise, it makes you vulnerable. It makes you complicit in your own suffering. And the Stoics, those ancient philosophers who faced wars, betrayals, and the collapse of empires, they knew this truth better than anyone. Marcus Aurelius, Seneca, Epictetus, these weren't armchair philosophers. They were men who understood power, pain, and the cost of tolerating what should never be tolerated. They believed in compassion, yes. They believed in patience, in understanding, in the long view. But they also believed deeply, urgently, in boundaries, in dignity, in self-respect. Because here's what most people won't tell you. Not everyone deserves access to your life. Not everyone deserves your time, your energy, your peace. Some people, no matter how charming, no matter how close they once were, are poison, slow poison. The kind you don't notice until you're already sick, until you've lost yourself trying to save them, until you've sacrificed your future for their comfort. Today, we're going to talk about 7 behaviors you must never ignore. 7 red flags that reveal everything about someone's character. These aren't small annoyances. These aren't personality quirks. These are warnings written in neon that if you continue to allow these behaviors, you will pay the price. Not tomorrow, not someday. You're already paying it. And the Stoics would tell you, the first step to freedom is awareness. The second step is action, not reaction, not drama, not revenge, just the quiet, dignified act of closing the door on what no longer serves you to SO. If you've ever felt drained by someone and couldn't explain why. If you've ever ignored your gut because you didn't want to seem mean or judgmental. If you've ever wondered why you feel smaller around certain people, this is for you. Because the truth is, you already know who these people are. You've known for a while. You just needed permission to trust yourself. Consider this that permission. Let's begin. 1. They disrespect your boundaries. Again and again, a Stoic heart is calm, but it is not weak. Marcus Aurelius once wrote, "You should put an end to the harm done to you, not by reacting fiercely, but by refusing to participate." Think about that. Refusing to participate, not by shouting, not by explaining for the 100th time why what they did hurt you, but by stepping back, by closing the door, by choosing peace over endless, exhausting battles. Boundaries are not suggestions. They're not guidelines. They're not up for negotiation. When you say, "Please don't call me after 10 p.m.," and they call at midnight, that's not an accident. When you say, "I need space," and they show up unannounced, that's not love. That's control. When you ask them not to share your private business, and they gossip anyway, that's not forgetfulness. That's disrespect. And here's the hard truth. People who repeatedly cross your boundaries are telling you, loudly, that your comfort does not matter, that your needs are inconvenient, that their desires, their whims, their feelings are more important than yours. They're training you to shrink, to apologize for having limits, to feel guilty for wanting basic respect. The Stoics understood that some people will test you. They'll push. They'll see how much you'll tolerate. And if you tolerate everything, they'll take everything. Your energy, your time, your peace, your self-respect, until there's nothing left. A wise person doesn't argue with boundary breakers. A wise person doesn't explain, justify, or defend their right to be respected. A wise person simply stops participating. They step back, they close the door, and they don't look back, because every time you allow a boundary to be crossed without consequence, you're teaching that person and yourself that your boundaries don't matter. And once you believe that, you've lost yourself.
Sorry for the interruption. If this resonated with you, please subscribe and comment your one subscribe. Give me motivation. Let's start.
2. They only show up when they need something. This behavior is subtle. It's insidious, and it's everywhere. Some people don't see you as a human being. They see you as a resource, a tool, an ATM, an emotional dumping ground, a problem solver, a favor de dispensar. And the tragedy is you might not even notice at first, because when they need you, they're warm, they're grateful, they're present. But the moment the crisis passes, silence. If someone only calls when they want help, if they only appear in moments of need, if every single conversation starts with favors, problems, or requests, then you need to understand something. You're not in a relationship. You are in a transaction. Seneca said, "We suffer more from the loss of time than the loss of money." Think about that. Time is the one resource you can never get back, ever. And anyone who uses you, who shows up only to extract value and disappears when you need them, is stealing from you. They're stealing your time, your energy, your goodwill, and they're doing it with a smile. Now, I'm not talking about people going through genuine hardship. We all need help sometimes. True relationships are reciprocal. Sometimes you give more, sometimes you receive more. That's life. But there's a difference between a friend in need and a user who's perfected the art of taking that a user never asks how you're doing, unless they need to butter you up first. A user never celebrates your wins because they're too busy planning their next request. A user keeps score, but only of what you owe them, never what they owe you. The Stoics valued mutuality. They valued people who contributed, who gave, who honored the sacred bond of friendship. Epictetus taught his students to observe actions, not words. And if someone's actions consistently show that they value you only for what you can give them, cut them off. With quiet dignity, without explanation, without guilt, because you deserve relationships where your presence matters, not just your utility. 3, they make you feel drained, not energized. Pay attention to how your body reacts after talking to someone. This is something most people ignore. They focus on words, on intentions, on history. But the body doesn't lie. After a conversation with certain people, do you feel peaceful? Or do you feel exhausted? Do you feel uplifted? Or do you feel like you just ran a marathon through mud? Stoicism teaches radical awareness of your inner state. The Stoics believe that your emotions and energy are signals, data from your deepest self. And if someone's presence repeatedly makes you anxious, tense, stressed, emotionally smaller, then your soul is warning you. Some people are energy vampires. They don't mean to be. They might even be good people, but they're black holes. They absorb everything. Your attention, your positivity, your peace, and give nothing back. After spending time with them, you feel like something vital has been drained from you. You feel foggy, heavy, defeated. And here's what happens. You start avoiding them. You stop answering their calls. You make excuses, and then you feel guilty because they didn't do anything bad, right? They didn't insult you. They didn't betray you. They're just a lot, but that just a lot is costing you. It's costing you your mental clarity, your emotional bandwidth, your ability to show up fully for the people and projects that actually matter. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "The impediment to action advances action. What stands in the way becomes the way." But he also knew when to remove impediments entirely. And people who constantly drain your energy, intentionally or not, do not belong in your inner circle. Protect your peace like your life depends on it, because it does. Your peace is not a luxury. It's not something you sacrifice to be nice. It's the foundation of everything. Your health, your creativity, your relationships, your future, that if someone consistently leaves you feeling worse than before you saw them, it's time to create distance. Not with anger, not with drama, just with the quiet understanding that you cannot pour from an empty cup. And some people will never stop drinking. 4. They mock your dreams or belittle your growth. A Stoic grows daily, mentally, emotionally, spiritually, and when you commit to growth, real growth, not just talking about it, something interesting happens. You start to see who truly supports you and who fears your success. Notice who stands beside you during your growth. Notice who celebrates when you take risks, when you learn new skills, when you reach for something bigger. And notice who laughs, who rolls their eyes, who calls your goals unrealistic, who says, "Who do you think you are?" If someone laughs at your goals, ruins your excitement, or calls your ambition stupid, they're revealing their own insecurities. They're telling you that your growth threatens them, that your courage highlights their stagnation, that your willingness to try exposes their fear of failure. Marcus Aurelius said, "The opinion of others is not your problem." And he's right. But here's the deeper truth. People who attack your dreams are attacking your future. They're trying to keep you small so they don't feel left behind. They're trying to convince you that reaching for more is foolish, so they can justify their own surrender. And the worst part? These people are often close to you. Family, old friends, partners, people who were there before you started growing. And now, as you evolve, they don't recognize you anymore. And instead of celebrating your transformation, they resent it. The Stoics would tell you, grow anyway. Grow silently if you must. Share your dreams only with those who water them, not with those who poison the soil. Because the people who mock you today will either apologize tomorrow or become footnotes in your story. Cut them off. Not with hatred, not with bitterness, but with the understanding that you cannot shrink yourself to make others comfortable. You cannot dim your light because someone else refuses to ignite theirs. Let your success be your response. Let your growth speak louder than their doubts. And let them watch from a distance as you become everything they said you couldn't. 5. They gossip about others in front of you. The Stoics warned against poison disguised as conversation. Gossip is insidious. It feels harmless. It feels like bonding. It feels like connection. But it's none of those things. Gossip is corrosion. It's the slow decay of trust, integrity, and character that a person who brings gossip carries corruption. And here's the rule you need to remember. When they gossip to you, they will one day gossip about you. Not maybe, not possibly. They will. Epictetus said, "The tongue is a wild beast. Once let loose, you cannot control it." And he was right. People who gossip compulsively cannot help themselves. They thrive on drama. They live for the rush of sharing secrets, of tearing others down, of being the one in the know. And eventually, inevitably, you will become the subject. Think about it. If someone speaks badly about their so-called friends to you, what makes you think you're exempt? If they violate the trust of others so casually, why would they protect yours? Gossipers destroy communities. They destroy friendships. They destroy workplaces. They create chaos, sow division, and feed off negativity. And the worst part is they often disguise it as concern. I'm just worried about her. I'm just telling you so you know. I'm just trying to help. No, they're feeding their own ego. They're positioning themselves as the moral authority. They're using secrets as social currency. The Stoic response? Remove yourself. Immediately. Politely if you can. Coldly if you must. Because what you allow in your ears becomes what you carry in your heart. If you listen to gossip, you become complicit. If you participate, you become one of them. Surround yourself with people who build others up, even in their absence. Surround yourself with people who refuse to engage in destructive talk. Surround yourself with integrity. Because character is revealed not in what you say to people's faces, but in what you say behind their backs. And if someone cannot honor others with their words, they will never honor you. 6. They never take responsibility for anything. Watch how people handle their mistakes. This is one of the clearest indicators of character. When someone messes up, do they apologize genuinely? Do they acknowledge the harm? Do they take ownership? Or do they blame, redirect, justify, and play the victim? The Stoics valued responsibility as a sign of maturity. Seneca wrote, "It is the power of the mind to be unconquerable." And part of that power is the ability to say, "I was wrong. I hurt you. I will do better," without deflection, without excuses. People who avoid accountability will sink your peace, your relationships, and your stability. They will blame you for things you didn't do. They will twist the story, so they're always the victim and you're always the villain. They will gaslight you into doubting your own memory, your own feelings, your own reality. And the exhausting part? You can never resolve anything with them. Because resolution requires honesty. It requires both people to acknowledge their part. But if one person refuses to ever admit fault, you're stuck in an endless loop of confusion and hurt. These people will accuse you of being too sensitive. They'll say you're overreacting. They'll make you feel crazy for expecting basic respect. And over time, you'll start to believe them. You'll start to doubt yourself. You'll start to apologize for things you didn't do, just to keep the peace. But here's the truth. A person who refuses to take responsibility will never grow. They will repeat the same patterns, hurt the same people, and blame the same external factors forever. And if you stay, you will be collateral damage. Cut them off. Not because they're evil, not because they're beyond redemption, but because you cannot tie your peace to someone who refuses to evolve. You cannot heal someone who denies they're wounded. And you cannot have a healthy relationship with someone who will never admit they're wrong. Protect yourself. Choose people who own their mistakes. Choose people who apologize without prompting. Choose people who value growth over ego, because life is too short to be someone else's scapegoat. 7. They compete with you instead of supporting you. There's a difference between inspiration and competition. That a healthy friend, a healthy partner, a healthy colleague. They celebrate your victories. They cheer when you succeed. They feel genuine joy when good things happen to you, because they understand that life is not a zero-sum game. Your success doesn't diminish theirs, but jealous people, they hide behind fake smiles. They offer hollow congratulations. They subtly undermine you. They downplay your achievements. They say things like, must be nice, or well, it's easier for you because they can't help themselves. Seneca said, a noble soul is superior to injury. The Stoics believe that a truly strong person remains above jealousy, not because they ignore it, but because they recognize it in others and refuse to engage. People who secretly compete with you are dangerous. They're watching, they're comparing, they're keeping score, and when they get the chance, they will sabotage you. Not loudly, not obviously, just little things. A withheld opportunity, a planted seed of doubt, a forgotten invitation, a rumor they didn't quite deny. And the tragedy is, these people often start as friends. You trust them, you share your wins, you're excited, and slowly you start to notice the shift, the coldness, the subtle jabs, the way they change the subject when you talk about something good. It hurts because you want to believe the best in people. You want to believe that the people you care about genuinely want you to thrive. But some people are too insecure to handle your light. And instead of working on themselves, they try to dim yours. The Stoic response? Distance. Not cruelty, not confrontation, just space. Because you cannot force someone to be happy for you. And you shouldn't have to shrink your success to protect someone else's ego. Surround yourself with people who clap when you win. People who ask how you did it so they can learn, not so they can one-up you. People who understand that your success is proof that success is possible, not a threat. Because life is hard enough without fighting people who should be on your team. You are responsible for the energy you allow into your life. Read that again. You are responsible, not them, not the universe, not fate. You, because every day you choose, consciously or unconsciously, who gets access to your time, your heart, your peace. Some people teach lessons. They show you what you don't want. They reveal your breaking points. They force you to grow. And some people take pieces of you, slowly, quietly, until one day you look in a mirror and don't recognize yourself anymore. And some people are never meant to stay. Not because they're bad, not because you failed, but because their season in your life is over. And holding on is just prolonging the pain. Stoicism is not about being emotionless. It's about being intentional. It's about recognizing that you have limited time, limited energy, and an unlimited capacity for growth, but only if you protect what matters. Cut off the behaviors that poison your spirit, not with anger, not with vengeance, but with the quiet, dignified understanding that you deserve better, that your peace is sacred, that your future is worth protecting. Marcus Aurelius once stood alone in his tent, surrounded by betrayers and flatterers, facing a crumbling empire. And he wrote, "The soul becomes dyed with the color of its thoughts." He knew that the people around you shape you, that the voices you listen to become the voice in your head. That proximity is power, for better or worse. Today, you choose the colors. You choose who stays. You choose who goes. And you choose, right now, in this moment, to protect what matters most. Your peace, your dignity, your soul. Cut them off. Not with rage, not with guilt, but with the unshakable conviction of someone who finally knows their worth. Choose peace over chaos. Choose dignity over fear. Choose yourself, because you only get one life. And the Stoics would tell you, don't waste it on people who drain it. You deserve relationships that nourish you, friendships that uplift you, connections that honor you, and anything less, let go.